The stars had always been quiet. For 200 years, humanity looked up at the night sky and wondered if they were alone. They built ships, they explored nearby planets, they hoped to find friends among the stars. But the universe had other plans. Admiral Quan Te stood in the command center of Earth's orbital station. He was 63 years old, with gray hair and tired eyes that had seen too many battles. His hands rested behind his back as he watched the large screen in front of him. Red dots filled the display, hundreds of them, then thousands. "How many?" he asked. His voice was calm, too calm for what was coming. Lieutenant Una Park checked her console. She was young, barely 30, but she had earned her place here. 1,200 ships, Admiral. They just appeared at the edge of our solar system. Quan Te nodded slowly. He had prepared for this moment his entire life. Every military leader on Earth had trained for the day when something would come from the darkness. They just never knew when. "Send the alert," he said. Protocol Sunfire. The words spread across Earth in minutes. Every government received the message. Every military base activated. Every hidden weapon system came online. Humanity had kept secrets from itself. Weapons buried under mountains. Missile platforms disguised as broken satellites. Ships hidden in the asteroid belt. All of it built for this single moment. Far away, at the edge of the solar system, High Commander Rithax stood on the bridge of his flagship. He was tall, with gray skin and 4 arms. His species, the Vellum, had conquered 200 worlds. They had crushed civilizations that were old when humans still lived in caves. This mission was supposed to be easy. "What do we know about this planet?" Rithax asked. His advisor, Subcommander Orveth, pulled up the data. "They call it Earth. Population of 11 billion. They have primitive space travel. Small fleet. Maybe 300 ships. They have never fought a real war in space." Rithax laughed. The sound echoed through the bridge. 300 ships against 1,200. This will be over in hours. Prepare the surrender broadcast. Orveth hesitated. "Commander, perhaps we should study them more. They reached space faster than most species. Their technology growth is unusual." "Unusual?" Rithax turned to face his advisor. "They are insects. We have crushed species with far more power. Earth will fall like all the others." "Earth?" Orveth said nothing more. He had served Rithax for many years. He knew when arguments were useless. On Earth, people looked up at the sky with fear. The news spread fast. Aliens were coming. Not peaceful explorers. Not scientists. Conquerors. The kind that had destroyed entire worlds. But something strange happened. Instead of panic, humanity united. Old enemies shook hands. Countries that had fought for centuries put aside their anger. Presidents and generals gathered in a single room and agreed on one thing. Earth would not surrender. Admiral Quan Te addressed the world leaders through a video call. His face was stone. "They are coming to kill us. All of us. They have done this to 200 other worlds. They expect us to beg. They expect us to break." He paused. "We will do neither." Captain Una Park gathered her crew on the battleship Iron Will. It was one of Earth's largest warships. 2 kilometers long. Armed with plasma cannons and nuclear missiles. But it was still small compared to the Vellum ships. "I will not lie to you," Una told her crew. "Many of us will die. But we fight so that billions can live. We fight so that our children have a future. And we fight because no one else will." The crew saluted. There were no tears, no complaints, just grim determination. Lieutenant Han Sok climbed into his fighter. He was 26, the youngest squadron leader in Earth's history. His call sign was Black Talon. His squadron was the best. "You scared?" his wingman asked through the radio. Han Sok smiled. "Terrified. But I am also angry. And anger is useful." Sergeant Dae Ho checked the ground defense batteries one last time. He was 54, a veteran of 3 wars on Earth. He had thought his fighting days were over. He was wrong. "How many missiles do we have?" he asked his team. 12,000 surface-to-orbit missiles. All armed, all ready. Deho nodded. Good. When those bastards come close, we show them what happens when you attack our home. Creasy. In her laboratory, Dr. Mina Cho watched the final activation of the orbital defense platforms. She had spent 20 years building these weapons, 20 years of secret funding, 20 years of lies to the public. All for this moment. Platforms online, her assistant reported. All systems ready. Mina took a deep breath. Then we are as ready as we will ever be. 72 hours passed. The Vellum fleet moved closer. Their ships filled the sky like a dark cloud. On Earth, people held their families close. They prayed to whatever gods they believed in. They waited. Then the broadcast came. Rithax's face appeared on every screen on Earth. His voice was cold and arrogant. People of Earth, I am High Commander Rithax of the Vellum Dominion. Your world now belongs to us. You will surrender immediately. Your leaders will present themselves for execution. Your population will serve our empire as slaves. Resistance is meaningless. You have 1 hour to comply. The broadcast ended. Silence fell across the planet. Then Admiral Quan Te sent his response. It was not a long speech. It was not a plea for mercy. It was just 7 words. You should have sent more ships. Rithax stared at the message. For the first time in his long career, he felt something strange. It was small, buried deep inside him, a tiny whisper of doubt. He crushed it quickly. Fools, he said. Begin the attack. The Vellum fleet moved forward. 1,200 ships against 300. The greatest fleet ever assembled against a planet that had never fought a real space war. They had no idea what was waiting for them. On the Iron Will, Captain Una Park gripped her armrests. Her heart was pounding. Her crew was ready. Earth's entire fleet was in position. All ships. Admiral Quan Te's voice came through the radio. This is it. Fight hard, die well, and make them remember us forever. The first Vellum ships entered weapons range. The battle for Earth had begun. The first wave of Vellum ships came in fast. 300 cruisers, each one larger than anything humanity had ever built. Their commanders were confident. They had destroyed fleets 10 times bigger than Earth's. This would be simple. High Commander Rithax watched from his flagship. He expected the humans to scatter. He expected them to panic and run. Instead, the human ships moved forward, toward the Vellum fleet, toward certain death. They are attacking us? Subcommander Orveth said with confusion. That makes no sense. Rithax laughed. Brave fools. Let them come. It will make the victory faster. Captain Una Park stood on the bridge of the Iron Will. The enemy ships filled her screen. They were huge. Their weapons were already charging. Any sane commander would retreat. Una was not feeling sane today. All ships, execute pattern Delta 7, she ordered. Get in close. Make them afraid to shoot. The human fleet broke into smaller groups. They scattered like birds, moving between the Vellum formation. The alien ships were built for long-range combat. Their weapons were powerful but slow. They needed distance to aim properly. Humanity gave them no distance. Lieutenant Hans Sok led his fighter squadron through the chaos. His small ship twisted between massive cruisers. Laser fire filled the space around him. One of his wingmen exploded, then another. Stay focused, Hans Sok said through the radio. Target their engines. Nothing else matters. The Black Talons dove toward a Vellum cruiser. It was 5 kilometers long. Its guns tried to track the tiny human fighters, but they were too fast, too small, like insects attacking a giant. Hans Sok fired his missiles. They hit the cruiser's engine core. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the entire back half of the ship exploded. The blasts sent debris in every direction. One down, Hans Sok reported. Keep moving. The Vellum commanders were confused. Their tactics did not work against an enemy that refused to stay at range. Human ships rammed through their formations. Human fighters attacked from every angle. It was chaos. On the Iron Will, Una watched as a Vellum cruiser tried to target her ship. She waited until the last second, then ordered hard thrust to the left. The enemy shot missed. The Iron Will's return fire did not. Direct hit on their weapons array, her tactical officer reported. They are disabled. Finish them, Yuna ordered. The Iron Will's main cannon fired. The Vellum cruiser split in half. Bodies and debris floated into space. In 2 hours, the first wave lost 200 ships. The Vellum commanders could not believe it. They had fought 100 wars. They had never lost like this, not to a species that had barely left its own planet. Rithax's confidence began to crack. Send 500 more ships. Overwhelm them with numbers. Orvith stepped forward. Commander, perhaps we should reconsider. Their tactics are unlike anything in our records. They fight like they have nothing to lose. They have everything to lose, Rithax snapped. Their entire world is behind them. Send the ships. 500 more Vellum cruisers joined the battle. The human fleet was outnumbered badly now. Their ships were taking damage. Some were destroyed. But they did not retreat. Admiral Quan Te watched the battle from the command station. His face showed no emotion, but his heart was breaking. Good people were dying out there. Friends, family. The best humanity had to offer. But they were taking the enemy with them. Dr. Cho, he said into his communicator. It is time. In her laboratory, Mina Cho nodded. She had waited for this moment. Activating orbital platforms. Across Earth's orbit, hidden weapons came to life. Platforms that looked like dead satellites suddenly powered up. Their hulls opened, revealing massive plasma cannons, weapons that Mina had designed in secret. Weapons that could crack planets. The first platform fired. A beam of pure energy cut through space. It hit a Vellum cruiser and went straight through it. Then through the ship behind it. Then through 2 more. 4 ships destroyed in one shot. What is that? Rithax screamed. Our intelligence said they had no orbital defenses. Number 4. Number 4. The platforms kept firing. One after another. The Vellum formation began to fall apart. Ships tried to dodge, but the platforms tracked them perfectly. In 10 minutes, another 100 ships were destroyed. On the ground, Sergeant Deho watched the battle through his command screen. The orbital platforms were doing their job. But the Vellum were adapting. They were spreading out, making themselves harder to hit. They are getting smarter, Deho muttered. But so are we. He activated his ground batteries. 12,000 missiles waited in silos across the planet. Hidden under cities, buried in mountains, sleeping beneath the ocean floor. All batteries, Deho said. Fire. The missiles launched. They rose from every continent, a wall of fire climbing toward space. The Vellum sensors detected them too late. The missiles hit their targets. Nuclear warheads exploded against alien shields. Some shields held, many did not. Ships that survived the first wave were hit by the second, then the third. Lieutenant Han Sok flew through the debris field. His fighter was damaged. Half his squadron was dead. But he was still fighting. He spotted a Vellum command carrier. It was larger than the others. Important. He could see smaller ships protecting it. Black Talons, on me, he ordered. We are taking that carrier down. Only 4 fighters responded. The rest were gone. Han Sok did not hesitate. He pushed his engines to maximum and dove toward the carrier. The escort ships fired at him. His shields failed. His wing was hit. Alarms screamed in his cockpit. He fired everything he had. Missiles, cannons, everything. The carrier's shields collapsed. His last missile hit the bridge directly. The explosion was blinding. Han Sok's fighter spun out of control. He could not see. He could not breathe. Everything was fire and pain, then darkness. On the Iron Will, Yuna saw the carrier explode. She did not know if Han Sok survived. There was no time to check. Enemy flagship is moving forward, her officer reported. Rithax is coming personally. Una smiled grimly. Good. Let him come. The battle was far from over. Humanity had drawn blood, but the hardest part was still ahead. Rithax had committed everything now. 900 ships against Earth's remaining 200. But those 200 ships were not afraid. They had tasted victory. They had proven that the mighty vellum could bleed, and bleeding enemies could die. Admiral Quante's voice came through every human radio. All ships, all stations. They sent their best against us. They expected us to break. We did not. Now we show them what humanity is made of. No retreat. No surrender. Today, we fight for Earth. Quote, the human fleet regrouped. The orbital platforms recharged. The ground batteries reloaded. The real battle was about to begin. High Commander Rithax had never known fear. He had conquered worlds. He had crushed rebellions. He had watched entire species beg for mercy at his feet. But standing on his bridge, watching his fleet burn, he felt something cold growing in his chest. All remaining ships, he ordered, full assault. Destroy everything. 900 vellum warships moved as one. They formed a massive wall of metal and fire, pushing toward Earth. Their weapons lit up the darkness of space. Plasma bolts, energy beams, missiles that could crack moons. Admiral Quante watched them come. He stood in the command center of the orbital station Aegis Prime. Around him, officers worked frantically at their stations. Damage reports came in every second. Ships lost, stations destroyed, friends dying. But Quante did not waver. He had prepared for this his entire life. All units, he said calmly. Execute final defense pattern. Make every shot count. Make every death mean something. The human fleet was battered. Only 180 ships remained. Many were damaged. Some could barely move. But they turned to face the enemy. They did not run. Captain Una Park gripped the arms of her command chair. The Iron Will had taken heavy damage. Half her crew was dead. Her ship was burning in 3 places. But the engines still worked. The weapons still fired. Enemy formation approaching, her tactical officer reported. They are targeting us directly. Una nodded. Then we give them what they want. All power to forward weapons. Ram speed. Her crew did not question the order. They knew what she was planning. The Iron Will was dying anyway. Better to take enemies with them. The battleship surged forward. It pushed through the enemy lines, firing everything it had. Vellum ships exploded around it. But they returned fire. The Iron Will's hull cracked. Decks collapsed. The bridge shook with every impact. Hull breach on Deck 7, someone shouted. Deck 12 is gone. We are losing atmosphere. Una kept her eyes on the target. A Vellum command carrier. Sub-Commander Orveth's ship. The second most important vessel in the enemy fleet. All crew evacuate, she ordered. Get to the escape pods. Now. Captain, what about you? Una smiled. It was sad and proud at the same time. Someone has to aim this ship. Go. That is an order. The crew ran. Escape pods launched from the dying battleship. Una stayed at the helm. She watched the carrier grow larger on her screen. She could see the alien crew scrambling, trying to move their ship out of the way. Too late. The Iron Will hit the carrier at full speed. 2 kilometers of human steel crashed into 5 kilometers of alien metal. The impact was beyond description. Both ships crumpled together. Fire consumed everything. Una ejected at the last second. Her escape pod shot away from the explosion. She hit her head on the console. Blood filled her vision. Then she saw nothing. Behind her, Sub-Commander Orveth died in the fire. The second most powerful leader of the invasion fleet, killed by a single human captain who refused to surrender. On the ground, Sergeant Day-Ho watched the explosion through his telescope. He did not know who had done it, but he knew what it meant. Humanity was fighting back with everything. Reload the batteries, he ordered. Keep firing until we have nothing left. His teams worked without rest. They launched missile after missile. The sky above Earth was filled with light. Nuclear explosions bloomed like terrible flowers. Vellum ships fell from the sky, crashing into oceans and mountains. Lieutenant Hans Sok woke up in a rescue shuttle. A medic was working on his wounds. His entire body was pain. "What happened?" he asked weakly. "You took out that carrier," the medic said. "Your fighter was recovered drifting in the debris. You are lucky to be alive." Hans Sok tried to sit up. His left arm did not respond. He looked down and saw it was gone below the elbow. "My arm. We will get you a new one," the medic said. "Mechanical. Better than the original. But right now, you need to rest." Hans Sok shook his head. "No. Get me another fighter. I can still fly." The medic stared at him. "You just lost an arm. You nearly died. You cannot be serious." "They killed my squadron," Hans Sok said. His voice was cold now. Hard. "They killed my friends. I am not done yet." 30 minutes later, Hans Sok was back in a fighter. His remaining hand gripped the controls. His wounds were bandaged but still bleeding. He should not have been able to move. But anger kept him going. Rage gave him strength. In the command center, Admiral Quan Te received a report that made his heart sink. Only 100 ships remained. The Vellum still had over 600. The mathematics were against them. But then, Dr. Mina Cho's voice came through his communicator. "Admiral, the final weapon is ready." Quan Te closed his eyes. He had hoped it would not come to this. The final weapon was not meant for space. It was meant for extinction. "Are you sure?" he asked. "Yes, but once we fire it, there is no taking it back. Every Vellum ship in range will be affected." Quan Te thought of his children, his grandchildren, the billions of people on Earth looking up at the sky, praying for survival. He thought of the dead, the brave soldiers who had given everything. "Fire it," he said. Mina pressed the button. Deep beneath Earth's surface, a machine activated. It had been built in secret, designed by the greatest minds humanity had ever produced. It generated a pulse, an electromagnetic wave so powerful it could disable any electronic system within 1,000,000 kilometers. The pulse exploded outward. It passed through Earth's remaining ships, which had been shielded against it. Then it hit the Vellum fleet. Every alien ship went dark. Their engines stopped, their weapons died, their shields collapsed. 600 warships became floating coffins. Rithax screamed in rage as his flagship lost power. Emergency lights flickered. His crew scrambled in the darkness, trying to restore systems. "What have they done?" he roared. "What is this weapon?" No one answered. No one knew. Admiral Quan Te's voice came through the human radio network. His words were simple, final. "All ships. They are helpless. No mercy. No prisoners. Show them what happens when they attack our home." The human fleet moved forward. The orbital platforms charged. The ground batteries prepared their final volleys. The slaughter was about to begin. The Vellum fleet drifted in silence. 600 ships floated without power, without shields, without hope. The electromagnetic pulse had done its work perfectly. Now they were just targets. Admiral Quan Te stood in his command center. His face was stone. His heart was cold. He had watched good people die today. Friends. Heroes. Now it was time to make the enemy pay. "Admiral," one of his officers said carefully, "some of the alien ships are sending surrender signals. They are waving white flags on their emergency beacons." Quan Te was quiet for a long moment. He thought about mercy. He thought about being the better species. Then he thought about the 200 worlds the Vellum had destroyed. The billions of lives they had ended. The species they had erased from existence. "They came to exterminate us," he said. "Every man, woman, and child on Earth. They would have killed us all and never lost a moment of sleep." He turned to face his officers. "No surrender. No prisoners. Let their empire know the cost of attacking humanity." The order went out. Human ships moved through the helpless Vellum fleet like wolves among sheep. They fired at will. Disabled ships exploded one after another. The darkness of space filled with fire. Pilot Keswick sat in his small scout ship. He was young for a Vellum. This was his first real mission. He had been excited when the fleet launched. He had dreamed of glory and conquest. Now he hid among the debris, watching his people die. His ship had been at the edge of the fleet when the pulse hit. His systems had partially survived. He had just enough power to stay hidden, just enough to record what was happening. He watched a human cruiser approach a Vellum battleship. The battleship was dark, dead. Its crew was still alive inside, trapped without power. The human cruiser fired once. The battleship exploded. 5,000 Vellum soldiers died in an instant. Keswick wanted to scream. He wanted to fight. But his weapons were dead. His engines barely worked. All he could do was watch and record. On the Iron Will's escape pod, Captain Una Park woke up. Her head was bleeding. Her body was broken in several places. But she was alive. Through the small window, she could see the battle. Human ships, hunting Vellum survivors. Explosions everywhere. It was beautiful and terrible at the same time. "We are winning," she whispered. High Commander Rithax stood on his darkened bridge. Emergency power flickered weakly. His crew was panicking. Some were crying. Others were praying to gods that had never helped them. "Get the engines working," Rithax ordered. "We need to escape." "We cannot," his engineer said. "The pulse destroyed everything. It will take hours to repair." "We do not have hours." Through the viewport, Rithax saw human ships approaching. They moved slowly, deliberately, like predators enjoying the hunt. He had done the same thing to so many other species. He had laughed at their fear. He had enjoyed their suffering. Now he understood how they felt. The humans boarded his flagship. They came through the airlocks with weapons ready. They wore heavy armor and moved with perfect discipline. These were not scared farmers defending their home. These were warriors. Sergeant Day Ho led the assault team. He was old and tired. He had lost many soldiers today, but he was still fighting, still pushing forward. "Spread out," he ordered. "Find the commander. Kill anyone who resists." The fighting inside the ship was brutal. Vellum soldiers tried to defend their flagship. They had energy weapons and natural strength. But humans had rage. They had lost too much today. They wanted revenge. Day Ho shot his way through corridor after corridor. Bodies fell around him. Some human, mostly Vellum. He did not stop. He did not hesitate. Finally, he reached the bridge. The doors were sealed. He placed explosive charges and stepped back. The explosion tore the doors apart. Day Ho walked through the smoke. His rifle was raised. His eyes scanned the room. Rithax stood in the center of the bridge. He was tall and imposing. His forearms hung at his sides. He looked at Day Ho with something like disbelief. "You are just one soldier," Rithax said. "I am a high commander. I have conquered 200 worlds. I have killed millions. You think you can end me?" Day Ho did not answer with words. He raised his rifle and fired. The shot hit Rithax in the chest. The high commander stumbled backward. His eyes went wide. He looked down at the wound, then back at the human who had shot him. "Impossible," he whispered. "We are the Vellum. We are invincible." "No," Day Ho said. "You are just another dead invader." He fired again. And again. Rithax fell to the floor. His blood spread across the bridge. The greatest military commander in Vellum history died on his own ship, killed by a single human soldier. The battle lasted 18 hours. By the end, the space around Earth was filled with wreckage. Broken ships drifted everywhere. Fires burned in the vacuum. Bodies floated among the debris. Of the 1,200 Vellum ships, 1,191 were destroyed. Some exploded. Some were captured. Some were torn apart piece by piece. Only 9 ships escaped. Keswick was on one of them. His small scout ship had just enough power to limp toward the edge of the solar system. He was not alone. 8 other damaged ships followed him. They were all that remained of the greatest invasion fleet in Vellum history. As he fled, Kessex looked back at Earth. The small blue planet was still there, still spinning, still alive. He had come here expecting easy victory. He had found something else entirely. He had found the most terrifying species in the galaxy. On Earth, people came out of their shelters. They looked up at the sky. They saw the lights of battle fading. They heard the news spreading across every channel. Victory. Humanity had won. Admiral Quante sat down for the first time in 20 hours. His body was exhausted. His mind was numb. Around him, officers cheered and cried. They hugged each other. They celebrated being alive, but Quante could not celebrate. He thought of the dead, the thousands of soldiers who would never come home, the ships that were now tombs floating in space. "We won," Dr. Mina Cho said quietly. She stood beside him. Her face was tired too. "Yes," Quante replied. "But at what cost?" Mina had no answer. None of them did. The battle was over. But the war had just begun. The 9 ships limped through space for 3 weeks. Their engines were barely working. Their crews were wounded and broken. They had left Earth with dreams of conquest. They returned with nightmares. Pilot Kessex sat alone in his small ship. He had watched the recordings 100 times. The images haunted him. Human ships ramming through vellum formations. Human soldiers boarding the flagship. High Commander Rithax falling to the floor, killed by a single warrior. He had been taught that humans were primitive, weak, easy prey. He had been taught lies. When the 9 ships finally reached Vellum space, alarms sounded across the Empire. The Dominion Council gathered in emergency session. They expected to hear news of victory. Instead, they saw Kessex's recordings. The council chamber fell silent. Leaders who had ruled for centuries stared at the screens with disbelief. They watched 1,200 ships burn. They watched their greatest commander die. They watched humans fight with a fury that made no sense. "This is impossible," one council member whispered. "They were supposed to be primitives." "They are not primitives," Kessex said. He stood before the council, his body still healing from his wounds. "They are warriors, the most dangerous warriors I have ever seen. They do not fight like other species. They fight like they have nothing to lose. Like death means nothing to them." The council demanded more details. Kessex told them everything. The hidden weapons. The impossible tactics. The way humans attacked larger ships without hesitation. The way they refused to surrender even when outnumbered. "They rammed their ships into ours," Kessex said. "They flew damaged fighters with missing limbs. They boarded our flagship and killed everyone inside. And when we tried to surrender, they did not accept." One council member leaned forward. "They killed soldiers who surrendered? They killed everyone. They made no exceptions. They wanted us to know what happens when you attack their world." The recordings spread across the Vellum Empire within days. Then, they spread beyond. Other species saw what happened. Other empires studied the battle. Everyone reached the same conclusion. Earth was not prey. Earth was a predator. On the small blue planet, humanity began to change. The celebration of victory faded quickly. People realized they had almost died. Every single person on Earth had come within hours of extinction. That knowledge changed them. Admiral Quante addressed the United Nations 1 month after the battle. He stood before the leaders of every country. His uniform was decorated with new medals. His face was still tired. "We won this battle," he said, "but we were lucky. The Vellum underestimated us. The next enemy might not make that mistake. We cannot wait for them to come to us again. We must become strong enough that no one dares attack." The world agreed. Resources poured into the military. Factories that made cars now made warships. Scientists who studied medicine now studied weapons. Humanity transformed itself into a war machine. Captain Yuna Park recovered from her injuries. It took 3 months of surgery and therapy. When she was finally released from the hospital, she found a promotion waiting for her. Vice Admiral, she read from the document. Her voice was quiet. Command of the new expansion fleet. She thought about the Iron Will. About her crew who died. About the moment she aimed her dying ship at an enemy carrier. She had been ready to die that day. Instead, she survived. Now she had a new purpose. We will never wait to be attacked again, she said. Next time, we go to them. Lieutenant Han Sok became a legend. Stories about him spread across Earth. The pilot who lost an arm and kept fighting. The young man who destroyed a command carrier alone. Children wore patches with his call sign. Soldiers tattooed his name on their bodies. Han Sok did not enjoy the fame. He still saw his dead squadron in his dreams. He still heard their voices on the radio, cut short by explosions. He had a new mechanical arm, better than the original, but he would have traded everything to have his friends back. You are a hero, people told him. I am a survivor, he replied. The heroes are dead. Dr. Mina Cho spent her days studying captured vellum technology. The Empire had centuries more advancement than humanity. Their weapons, their engines, their computers were all superior. But that would not last. Within 6 months, human scientists cracked the secrets of vellum faster than light travel. Within a year, they had improved upon it. Human innovation was terrifying in its speed. What took other species millennia, humans achieved in months. They are afraid of us, Mina said to Quan Te during one of their meetings. Intelligence reports say the vellum are evacuating border worlds. Other empires are sending diplomatic messages. They want to be our friends now, Quan Te nodded. Fear is useful, but it is not enough. They will try again eventually. Someone always does. Then what do? We make sure that when they try again, we are ready. And we make sure the cost is so high that they never recover. Far away, in the depths of vellum space, Kesix became something new. He traveled from world to world, telling his story, warning other species. He was no longer a soldier. He was a messenger. Do not go to Earth, he told everyone who would listen. Do not provoke them. Do not send spies. Do not even let them know you exist. They are not what they appear to be. They look weak. They look primitive. They are neither. Some species laughed at him. Some called him a coward. But many listened. Many believed. One night, Keswick spoke to a gathering of alien merchants and travelers. They had come from a dozen different worlds. They wanted to know about humans, about Earth, about what really happened. Keswick stood before them. His wounds had healed, but his eyes still carried the weight of what he had seen. I watched 1,200 of our ships die, he said. I watched our greatest commander fall. I watched humans fight with a fury that I cannot describe. They are not prey. They are not victims. They are predators wearing the skin of the innocent. He paused. The room was silent. Every eye was on him. And they remember. They remember everyone who comes for them. They remember every attack, every insult, every threat. And they do not forgive. One merchant raised a hand. What should we do? How do we survive? Kessix's answer was simple. Stay away. Leave them alone. And pray they never come looking for you. 3 years after the battle, the Vellum Dominion sued for peace. They sent their highest diplomats to Earth. They brought gifts and promises. They begged for mercy. Admiral Quan Te met them personally. He listened to their offers, their apologies, their pleas. Then he gave humanity's response. Unconditional surrender. Complete disarmament. Your empire will submit to human oversight forever. These terms are not negotiable. The diplomats were horrified. You cannot be serious. We are a proud species. We have ruled for 10,000 years. Quan Te smiled. It was not a kind smile. You came to our world to kill us. Every single one of us. Men, women, children. You would have erased humanity from existence. Did you think we would forget? Did you think we would forgive? The Vellums surrendered. Their empire fell. Their fleets were dismantled. Their worlds came under human protection. The conquerors became the conquered, and across the galaxy, other empires watched. They saw what happened to those who threatened Earth. They saw the price of attacking humanity. One by one, they sent messages of friendship. They offered trade. They promised peace. They swore to never threaten the small blue world, because they had learned the truth. Humanity was not alone in the universe. But humanity was unique. A species that looked fragile, but was anything but. A species that united in the face of extinction. A species that fought with absolute fury and showed no mercy to those who attacked their home. The galaxy had many empires, many kingdoms, many powers. But there was only one Earth, and Earth would never be conquered.